Hello, this is Daniel Mart, and today I'm gonna be doing another versus matchup. So yeah, Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice it comes out in less than a week. So yeah, for this week I'm gonna be reviewing both Man of Steel as well as doing my thoughts on who would realistically win between Batman v Superman. So yeah, now if we just go straight up, just the Superman we saw with a normal Batman, his normal gadgets, we all know Superman will whip his ass 5 seconds flat, probably kill him. So we're gonna give Batman a bit of an advantage-ish. Well, not really an advantage, but we're gonna give him more power. So what are we gonna do? In this case, we're gonna have Superman, the Superman we saw in Man of Steel, along with the Batman we saw in the Batman v Superman trailer, and I'm talking about the one with the big hulking ass armor. So yeah, Batman with Kryptonian armor and weapons. So yeah, because that's really the only way to actually defeat Batman. I mean Superman. That's really the only way to actually defeat Superman. So yeah. So yeah, that's basically what we're gonna do first. We're basically gonna have Superman, the one we saw in the movies, versus versus a Batman with Kryptonian armor. He's protected. So he can stand a chance. He has to at least stand some kind of a chance. Okay. So yeah, he has to withstand some kind of a chance. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. I need to type something very fast. But yeah. So basically, how are we gonna do this? Again, we have our categories. So yeah, category, and then results. So yeah, basically we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 categories, which are our normal categories. Okay. These are the categories that you normally would see, and these are we have 5 normal categories and then 3 special categories, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. So yeah, so our 5 normal categories are strength, speed, power, experience, and smarts. Who's smarter. Now we have 3 special categories, which these are more, I guess, philosophical or metaphorical thoughts that would have to go into this fight. Who does the public prefer more? Who does the public like more? And it's actually one we would really have to think about and especially for the DC extended universe. It's one you would really have, to actually think about. Who has won in the comics? Who has realistically ever won in the comics? And last but not least, and probably the biggest one, do they necessarily need to win the fight in order to win the battle? So just to explain that very fast, and if they fight it out, and one of them wins, just because they won the fight doesn't mean that they won the overall battle. And a perfect example of that was at the end of Man of Steel, when Superman had to break General Zod's neck. He won the fight. Yes, he won the fight. He broke General Zod's neck. He's not gonna kill anybody else, but did he necessarily win the battle? I mean, most of Metropolis and I guess parts of Gotham have been destroyed. There's been millions of people, millions of people have died. So just because he won the fight doesn't necessarily he won the battle. So yeah, bring some of that morality stuff in there, and yeah. Now again, they're all gonna count for 1 point, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, and at the end I'm gonna say the total of who won, who actually did win, and yeah. Now this one's gonna be interesting. So for strength, so you have so we're gonna start off with our first category is strength. We have our normal Superman, the one we saw in Man of Steel, versus Batman with Kryptonian armor and weapons. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. I feel like they're gonna be pretty even. I feel like they're gonna be evenly matched. In my opinion, I feel like it's gonna be really hard for them to actually. I feel like it's gonna be really hard for them to actually, I guess, subdue each other. In that, I guess it's a proper word. It's gonna be really hard. I guess they're gonna I guess they're gonna have a really hard time actually duking that out, because Kryptonian armor is obviously gonna weak Superman's strength, but even after that, and Superman still is extremely powerful. So I decided to give them both a point, mostly because I haven't really. it's one of those things also, you have to see how the battle just kind of goes. It's one of those things. It also depends how the power kind of goes. So I decided to give each of them a point for that. So it's a tie for that one. So far it's 1-1. Now for speed, who is faster? For this one, I'd have to give the point to Superman. Mostly because despite the fact that Batman and his Kryptonian armor, although there is a possibility that Batman does have ways to make them faster, I feel like either way, regardless, the armor in it of itself is still too bulky and it's still too heavy. Compare that to Superman, he has basically no armor on aside from like the cape and his spandex, and I feel like Superman is gonna be faster than him. Batman will still would still be surprisingly fast, but compare that to Superman's speed, and yeah, I feel like Superman's just gonna be faster than him any possible way. So far we have 2 Superman, 1 Batman. Next up, power. So basically, there's a Superman super strength, heat vision, super speed, and whatever else he has, versus basically any gadget that Batman has, encoded with kryptonite. So yeah, another really hard one to decide, to be honest. Yeah, but this one, I feel like although Batman probably would give a Superman a run for his money, I still feel like Superman would win in power because, and although this is probably gonna be although this may be a bit of a bitch move, but I'm pretty sure like Superman could just fly away. I doubt he's ever gonna run from a fight, but I feel like he could just run away, and eventually the Batman suit would have to like give in and wouldn't be able to go high enough. So I feel like there's some way Superman could probably get around all of Batman's gadgets. So again, I'd have to give the point there to Superman. So far 3-1. Next up, who's got more experience? Pretty obvious. I mean, you have Superman, who's been Superman for about a couple days or a week. Let's say about a year by the time that Batman v Superman comes around. He's been Superman for about a year. Compare that to Batman, Bruce Wayne. He's been around for at least a good 20 to 30 years apparently, from what it seems. He's seasoned. He knows what's been going on in Gotham and Metropolis. He knows the corruption. So yeah, for experience, I'd give that one to Batman. And so far we have 3-2. Next up, who is smarter? Again, I'd give that one to Batman. Again, and it kind of has to go with the experience part. First off, he knows way more than Superman. And also due to the fact that since he does have so much experience, he will know more or less how everything more or less goes. And he's also an inventor. I mean, if he's able to build an armor, a Kryptonian armor to weaken Superman, it's pretty incredible. First off, he has the money. Second off, he's the fact that he could build so much armor, and forget the armor, just anything from the batarangs to any of the smoke screen gases or whatever. He's able to build a lot of stuff. He built the Batmobile. He basically built the Batmobile, for God's sakes. I mean, sure, he did have help from like Lucius Fox or whatever, but for the most part, he's been able to invent and perfect whatever he needs. So yeah, again, that point will go to Batman. Superman, I'm not saying he's dumb. I mean, he is pretty smart, but compare that to Batman, I mean, there's almost no competition. So far we have 3-3. Next up, now the special categories. Who does the public like more? So yeah, so basically, not here you have Superman, who basically destroyed most of Metropolis and Gotham because they're basically adjacent to each other. You have Superman, who's basically destroyed most of Metropolis and Gotham, compared to Batman, who most people think is a myth at this point. So yeah, because apparently Batman has been retired for a couple of years now. For at least, it seems for at least 10 or more years. It seems like he's been retired for some time, because at this point, some people do consider him a myth rather than an actual person. They consider him more than a myth. However, this is how I see it, and it's probably going to be really bullshit and really philosophical, but really bullshit at the same time. But this is how I see it. Myths can give people hope. A god who basically destroyed half the city doesn't really give people hope. So, I mean, there are certain myths that I suppose, or like legends, that do give people hope to a certain degree, such as heaven or hell. I guess heaven, I'm not saying it's a myth or not, but you never know. Something that you don't see, but you want to believe. Something like heaven, that's something that gives people hope. Or the afterlife, for example. Or even Bigfoot, for God's sakes, that's basically a myth, but people still want to believe in Bigfoot. So yeah, so for that, I guess for likability among the people in the regular ass civilians in the DC universe, I'd have to give it to Batman. I was about to say Captain America for some reason. Wrong franchise, wrong company. Ah. So yeah, so far we are Superman 3, Batman 4. Now, who has won in the comics? So yeah, this one's interesting because, and the reason I say interesting is because neither of them have necessarily won in the comics per se. None of them have actually won in the comics. None of them. So why do I have this? Well, because of this. It's basically how do I explain this? How do I explain this? How do I explain this? I'm blanking out so hard right now. So who has won in the comics? Won in the comics. The thing is that none of them have actually ever won physically between each other. It's been more morally, brains morally. They've mostly have more combats in the comics. However, although this one, I will say it's a really hard one, and it's even harder to explain in my opinion. I am blanking out for some reason. I am blanking out. I am blanking the fuck out. Who has won in the comics? I'd have to give the point to both. I have no idea why it took me so long to say that, because the thing is that none of them have won in the comics when both of them have battled it out. None of them have actually won. Okay, they've both destroyed half the city, whichever city they're in, and they've normally haven't proven that much physically. It's more morally, why can you do this and not this when you're a god? How can you believe this when you're an inventor or some shit like that? And that basically leads us into our next topic, whatever. I am breaking out. Sorry. There. That leads us to our final section. Do they need to win the fight to win the battle? So yeah, just let me re-explain this. It's not even a word. Re-explain. Let me just explain this again. Again, like in Man of Steel, at the end of Man of Steel, when Superman breaks Zod's neck, he may have won the fight, but he necessarily did not win the battle. When there's millions of people dead, most of Metropolis and Gotham, for that matter, have basically been destroyed, and many people fear him. So just because he won the fight versus Zod doesn't mean he won the overall battle. So who would win in that? Do they necessarily need to win the fight in order to win the battle? I'd have to give the point to Batman. Why do I need to give the point to Batman? Because of this. And you give the point to Batman because the overarching question throughout Man of Steel, and I believe, not Man of Steel, in Batman v Superman, I believe it's the tagline for the movie, if I'm not mistaken, is, do you bleed? Superman is considered a god amongst men. So, if Batman could show the public Superman bleeding, even one drop or whatever, if he could somehow prove Superman can bleed, people will now question him as a god. Is he really our savior? Is he really that much of a god if he could bleed, etc., etc.? And also, if you take the director, Zack Snyder, he did the same thing in 300. He had the Spartans going off against. Actually, I forgot who they went up against. I remember how he looks. They went up against another character who everybody perceived as a god, and then when they showed him bleed, or I believe they killed him, if I'm not mistaken. I haven't watched the movie in a long time. Even after that, I don't think I ever watched it in its entirety. But whatever. After they proved that this guy bleeds, many of the rest of his troops, the rest of his soldiers of the bad guy, all the soldiers that belong to the bad guy, started questioning their beliefs. Should we really start following this guy if he's not really a god? So yeah, okay, that's basically it for now. Yeah, and I do realize that the ending for this is really crappy right now. I'm not rushing that. I just literally, and I actually tried doing this video once before, and it came out even worse. So yeah, I'm gonna try to record this one more time, and and I'll choose which one's better, this one or the next one, and see what happens. So yeah, but just to sum it up, strength, who would win? I gave that point to both of them. Speed, I gave the point to Superman. Power, I gave the point to Superman. Experience, I gave the point to Batman. Smarter, I gave the point to Batman. Who does the public like more? I gave the points to Batman. Who has won in the comics? I gave the points to each of them, so Superman and Batman. And do they necessarily, and the last one, do they necessarily need to win the fight in order to win the battle? I gave that point to Batman. So yeah, at the end, who won? Who do I think is gonna win between Batman and Superman? I would have to say Batman. So yeah, now keep in mind this is Batman with his Kryptonian armor for the most part, or at least for the first like 3 categories, more or less: strength, speed, and power. Because let's be honest, if it's just Superman versus normal ass Batman, like Superman would win instantly, okay? But again, we're giving Batman a bit of an advantage here. So yeah, a slight advantage, just to be kind of on par. So yeah, but Superman versus Batman, who would win? I would have to say Batman. So yeah, that is a total score of 4-6. So so yeah, we had 8 categories: strength, speed, power, experience, smart. Who does the public like more? Who has won in the comics, and do they necessarily need to win the fight in order to win the battle? So yeah, those are our 8. Do you guys have any other thoughts? Do you think there's any other way or any other category that I should have considered? Did I say considered? Ugh. Whatever. Is there any other category that you guys think I should have considered? Comment all that down below. Let me know. Like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And yeah, I'm so excited for Batman v Superman. And yeah, who's actually gonna win? Now, I just need to wait till May, and then I can do my Captain America versus Iron Man. And yay! I don't know. And yeah, it's basically for now. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, and comic book reviews. Comment down below on your thoughts on this versus matchup. What are your thoughts on it? And who do you guys think would win under these circumstances? Do you think I'm right that Batman would win? Or do you think I'm wrong and that Superman would win? I could see you guys going for Superman, I guess. Yeah, I could see you guys going for Superman. I mean, he is a god amongst men, I guess. I mean, he's an alien, so... yeah. Or maybe there's something from the comics I missed. I wouldn't be surprised if there is something from the comics I missed. I mean, I did do research on the comic part, so... Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if I missed something from the comics. If there's something I missed, something I left out, comment all that down below. Comment all that down below. Let me know. Like the video, share on Facebook, Twitter, MySpace, or whatever you guys prefer. And that's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing off.